Quiz love or logarithmics. So in this problem number 1, we're going to have to evaluate the expression. So they're pretty much asking us to reduce this, to simplify using all of our logarithmic laws. So in this case, look at this square root of 8. So this square root of 8 here is pretty much a power of 2. So if you recall that, that's like having 2 to the cube and then having a square root, which will be equivalent to 2 to the 3 over 2. So that's what I'm going to rewrite that one. So I'm going to write log with base 2 of 2 to the 3 halves. So I'm going to use the low exponent, which allows me to grab this exponent here and put it in front. So I will obtain 3 halves times log base 2 of 2. So remember this low exponent here. This guy here is actually 1. So this guy here is going to be 1. 1 times 3 root 2, 3 over 2 should be 3 half. Therefore, your answer should be 3 half. Now let's do part B. So in part B, say log of 20 plus log of 5. How am I going to evaluate this? How am I going to put together? Remember that here, because the log, there's nothing inside here, there's like a 10 there, okay? So, and also remember that the rule, whenever you're adding logarithmics, you have to multiply the inside. So in other words, this will be log of 20 times 5. Then we will get log of 100. And 100 is a power of 10. So it should be log 10 squared. And using our laws, this guy here is going to go in front multiplying. So you will get 2 times log of 10. Remember the log 10 is pretty much log 10 is pretty much log base 10 of 10, which will be 1. So this guy here is pretty much 1. So 2 times 1 is going to be 2. So now let's do the next one. Log 3 of 9 to the power of 11. Well, remember the 9 is actually 3 squared. So if I rewrite that as, let's see, log with base 3 of this 9, I'm going to write 3 squared. All of these to the 11 power. And I'm going to use my low exponents now. So it will be log base 3 of 3 to the 22. Now this law of logarithmic allows me that this power is going to be in front multiplying. So I'm going to have 22 times log of 3 with base 3, right? So, and remember that this guy here, this log 3 base 3 is actually 1. So this is what it will be 1 times the 22 that we have in front. That should give you a 22. Let's move on to the next one. So same technique, right? This guy, look here, look, it's a minus. So if in the plus previously was multiplication, in this part here will be a division part. If and only if they have the same base, which happens in this problem. They do have the same base, so it allows me to write log of 2, and I will have 80 over 10, which if I reduce this guy, that will be actually log of base 2 of actually 8. But this 8 here, I'm going to go my way down here. This 8 is actually 2 to the cube. And using the low exponents, this 3 is going to go on front. So in other words, I'm going to go here. So I'll have 3 times log of 2 base 2, right? Log 2 base 2. Now this part here is actually 1. So 3 times 1 should be 3. Next, natural log of e to the power of 21. Well, using my low exponents, I know that this 21 here is going to go in front multiplying, so it should be 21 times ln of e. This is a must-know formula, so ln of e equals to 1. This is a must-know property. Okay, natural log of e is actually 1. Okay, so in other words, I will get 21 times 1, which will be 21. Next one. Okay, this part here is also a tricky one. The rule that we have to remember there is actually, for example, you have 8 to the power of log with the, in this case, this a is going to be the base of the logarithmic x. I'm actually going to have x. You see, like, these guys pretty much cancel out and you're just left with the x. Like, if the base of the power of the exponent here matches with the base of the logarithmic, they cancel out and just give you the x. So this is also another formula that you must memorize, okay, especially whenever we're going to be solving some logarithmic equations. Now, knowing this, remember the log has base 10 as we did previously. Like, if you just have log of 25, that's actually log of 10, right? Log of 25 with base 10. So here pretty much allows me to cancel these guys here because they have the same base here. This is like a 10 here, so they will be gone. So in other words, I'm having just 25 as my final answer. 2. Use the law with logarithmics to expand the expression. So in this case, they want us to expand the expression. So what are we going to do is we're going to be using our law of logarithmics as much as we can. So in this case here, see, like, these guys here are multiplying. You have here like x is multiplying on top, this y is multiplying, and this c is dividing. We can do this all at once if we desire to, or we can do it step by step. Sometimes I just prefer, because we're in math 90 right now, get to the habit that you're actually, all of this is dividing and all of this is multiplying on top. So this will be split like this: log of x plus log of y cubed minus, because it's the one that is dividing, log of c squared. However, they want you to expand it out. You should not have this exponent here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my law of logarithmic and make this guy go in front, and same thing here. So in other words, I will get log of x plus 3 times log of y minus twice log of z. That's how we're going to be expanding our logarithmics. Now we're going to use the same technique here. However, look at this part here. Before you actually separate it, you have a square root here. This square root here is actually, we're having something like this. Look, 1 to the half. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my property and make this 1/2 go in front. So it will be 1/2 natural log of x over y. Now here you still have the 1/2 in front, multiplying all of this guy here. Now because this x is in the numerator, is like positive, and this y is in the denominator, is going to be a minus. Okay, so I'm going to have ln of x minus ln of y. But because we're expanding this guy here, what I'm going to do is, with this 1/2, is I'm going to distribute it for each of them. So I'm going to have 1/2 ln of x minus 1/2 ln of y. And that should be your answer. This guy here should be your answer. Okay, let's go for the next one. So we're going to apply the same rule. Look, we have this root cube here. So this is like power of 1/3. So this is like having this guy here pretty much to the 1/3. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the law of logarithmics again. This law, this says that this guy here, this exponent, should go to the front multiplying. So I'm going to put it here 1/3 times. Now pay attention here, be careful. You're actually having this top part here, okay, logarithmic of this guy, and then because this numerator is positive, this guy here is in the denominator, is going to be minus. This is in the denominator, so it's going to be minus as well. So let's do one by one. So you're going to have log, the numerator is positive, x plus 2, and then I have the denominator, so minus log of x to the 4, and then I have this guy again, the denominator, minus log of x squared plus 4. Okay, so then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to clear out some exponents. Be careful here, this is the tricky part here. So some students are trying to do this right here, this one, log of x plus log of 2. So that's completely wrong. Be careful with this part here. You should not do that, due to the fact that the law says that you have log a times b equals to log of a plus log of b. Okay, so be careful in that part. Now going back to the problem, now we're going to, well, these, you cannot expand this guy here. However, the law of logarithmic tells me that these 4 can go on front multiplying, and this one here I cannot do anything. I can't even factor this guy here. So all I have to do is I have this 1/3 times, well, bracket all of this here. I really don't need a point there, but just put in there. So log of x plus 2 minus 4 log of x minus log of x squared plus 4. Now what I'm going to do here, with this 1/3 here, I'm going to distribute for each of them. So we're going to be 1/3 log of x plus 2 minus 4/3 log of x minus log 1/3 log of x squared plus 4. So all of these from here to here, all of these guys here should be your answer. This is how we're going to be expanding all of the logarithmics. Problem number 3. Use the laws of logarithmics to combine the expression into a single logarithmic. So we're going to pretty much reverse what we just been doing here. In problem number 2, we were expanding it out. Now in problem number 3, what we're going to do is we're going to be compressing it, putting in a single logarithmic, applying the logarithmic rule backwards. So in this case, remember, when first of all, I'm going to start with the coefficients. So like here, if I have a coefficient, like for part A, I have a coefficient 2. This guy here is going to go back here. So I'm going to have log A plus log of b squared. So now this add here, this addition here implies that I need to multiply this part here, the inside part. So I'm going to have log of, I could put parentheses, a times b square. So in other words, will be log of parentheses ab square. Okay, so this part is going to be done this way. Now let's do part B. In part B, we're going to apply the same technique. See, there's no coefficients here, so we're fine. There's no coefficients here, so we're fine. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get this ln here that I have, because they have the same base, right? ln and ln. So I'm going to put the ln in, because they are subtracting here. See the minus sign here? They are subtracting, so I have to do division here. So over x plus 5. Then I will have, also remember, like the inside here cannot be 0. So, or in other words, x cannot be -5. So just keep that on mind. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to reduce this part here, because I see I can reduce it. The top part is a difference of squares. So I'm going to have ln of actually x plus 5, x minus 5. And in the bottom part, I have another x plus 5, which gladly these two guys are going to cancel out. So what I'm left with here is natural log of x minus 5. And this is as far as I can go here. Also remember that x cannot be -5, just as purpose of that. And as well, x cannot be 5 in here. And pretty much in the domain, x will not be in the domain. So this pretty much is not necessary, but I'm just pointing it out that the denominator cannot be 0, and actually this guy here will not be 0, and here the domain will be different, but we're not being asked for the domain. So but just keep in mind that. Okay, so this should be your answer. Last part, so part C. Once again, you're gonna have to compress all of that thing. You're gonna have to compress, and the best technique to start here is pretty much by looking at the coefficients. Gladly, they all have the same base, see, so you will be able to combine them. Now, but look at the coefficient. Well, in this guy here, there's no coefficient. In the first part, there's no coefficient, but this one here, there is one. So I'm gonna kind of put it back here. And same technique here. This 1/2, I'm gonna put it back here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just gonna rewrite them. So well, log of 3 with base 2 minus log of x with base 2, but this 3 is gonna go on top as multiplying it. Plus, in this case, I'm going to do the same thing, log of 2, but this 1/2 is going to go on top here as a power. Now, gladly, they all have the same denominator, the same base. Okay, since they all have the same base, and remember, if this is a plus, pretty much this is how it works. If it's a plus, it's in the numerator. If it's a minus, it's in the denominator. That's how I look at it. Okay, so if it's a plus here, in this case, so I'm gonna first put my log with base 2 of, in this case here, I'm gonna have what? I'm gonna have well, this is plus, so it should be a 3 on top, times, well, what else I'm gonna have here? So this guy here is in the denominator, so x cubed is in the denominator, x cubed. And then what else I have on top? This plus here. Oh, here it is. So x plus 1 to the 1/2. See, there's nothing to eliminate here. There's nothing to cancel out. So all of this should be your answer. If you decide, you can write a square root here. If you want this to be look a little bit nicer, so you can just do this guy here. So it's going to be 3 square root of x plus 1 over x cubed. Gladly, we're now being asked to find the domain, so that saves us a little bit of time. So this should be your answer for that particular problem. Make sure you remember your law of exponents. So they are going to be very, very crucial for this particular section of law of logarithmics. So everything is based on those law of exponents. Make sure you remember at least the 3 basic rules of them, and the other ones you can probably get used to it, or just play around with them, do many problems of these, and you will get better at them.